Good to go.
Welcome home. This is the Residency Podcast. I am Jeff Tomasic with Drew Belcher and Lo Raven, bringing you the biggest guests and stories in entertainment, business, pop culture, and sports from our studio on the Las Vegas Strip inside the Mandalay Bay. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You know the drill. We're back. This is a good one. This is fired up. On the show, we've had World Series champions.
Yep.
Super Bowl champions.
Yes, sir.
UFC champions.
Yep.
WWE champions.
Mm-hmm.
We're adding to that list. Two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. And one of the most dominant personalities in all of motorsports. Plus, he grew up in Las Vegas, which is key. Mr. Rowdy himself, Kyle Busch. Welcome to the show,
right.
man.
Yeah, right on. Appreciate that.
There it is.
You guys have had a slew of personnel on this show, huh? That's pretty
Everyone,
good.
a little bit of
Not too bad.
everything.
Yeah.
We're trying to ramp it
spectrum.
up.
Well, I'm dual stage champion, so I'm also a 24/7 champion from WWE. Yeah, so
Yeah.
That's
This is
also
big.
very
We
true.
have this on here. What was
Yeah.
that like, by the way?
it was fun. It was good. That was after I won my second championship in 2019. They invited us out for a night of WWE action. We were actually in Nashville for the banquet. They were in Nashville doing on a show, and so was just able to go over there. And R-Truth and the guys were super fun and just kind of chill, laid back, whatever. They'd go and do their whole spiel and show and whatever. I'm telling you, man, like those guys are athletic in the stuff that they do, and it's pretty fun. But they do it in a smart way. So. I had to pin R-Truth and get him down in order to get the 3 count to take the 24/7 title. So
Did they throw you through some WWE style training?
a little bit, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good. It was fine. It wasn't as intrusive as you might think, but I had to go to a lot of workouts beforehand to make sure I was ready. So yeah, exactly.
Okay, you still have the belt?
No.
Oh, that would be sick for the trophy room.
Honorary belt or something?
That's right. I asked about that, and they were like, "No." So,
Yeah, no, give it back, sir.
yeah, they were just
Thank
like,
you.
they were just like, "No, we're gonna
Big
get
time athletic guys too.
Yeah.
for
For
sure.
sure.
You got to think they're like we're all kind of the same age. These guys, could you imagine jumping off like ropes and shit in a wrestling ring
I know,
on
right?
another guy?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this
I'm
age, no
blowing
chance.
my back out.
Yeah, there's no
dude.
chance.
But what's funny too is like one of the guys that's on there more recently now, Pat McAfee. Him and I, we've known each other for a long time, and he is not that big of a dude, really.
Sure.
Like he's gotten girthier over the years,
Yeah, for sure.
especially since retiring.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pat.
Sorry, Pat, but he's a special character, but he's a phenomenon in his own. You ever watch him on some of his stuff?
All the time. He's an
yeah,
absolute
he's
beast.
Like nailing threes all the time, and then he did like a punting thing a couple months ago on his Instagram, where I don't know, it was like 60-yard punt or something, and dropped it right in a trash can.
It's insane.
It's madness.
He keeps getting new jobs, by the way. He keeps
I
on
know,
new
right?
jobs.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Throw
New
me
shows.
on.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
He's got a
This is gonna pay what? Oh, it's more than I'm making. Okay.
Deal.
Way more. Not even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Not even
For
close.
sure.
Yeah.
We're trying to get that Pat McAfee podcast deal. We're on our way.
Yeah,
Yeah. Someday soon.
you guys got a little bit of work to do because I rolled in here to the Bet MGM Sporting Book here at the Mandalay Bay,
Yeah.
and I said the guy was like, "Sports book," and I'm like, "No, studio." What?
Oh.
I'm like, the studio, like sound recording. We don't have that here. I'm like, never mind.
Never
We're
mind.
The one with the windows. You
Yeah.
can see right
The
out
thing that
there.
you're looking
Walking
into.
I'm
lights.
telling you, the guy is right out there.
All
Thing
right,
around the corner.
It doesn't count, Pat. We're still coming for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome, by the way. Congratulations on your WWE championship.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Right on.
Very well lived.
Yeah.
By the way, we should get like honorary for all the champions we've had here. Do we get like second
Yeah.
championships for having them on the show?
For sure. Like a nice
Yeah.
wall of Hall of Fame
Yeah,
kind of
but I
wall
mean,
for
just
us.
a mini, like, you know,
Yeah. A mini
corner store version.
jersey.
Yeah, 100%.
Get pass out a T-shirt.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's all we need. By the way, can we talk about Vegas real quick? Being that you're from Vegas, can we start off the show by you giving us like one of your best Vegas stories?
Well, so yeah, there's a few. Let me just say this though, to start this off. You guys screwed up my normalcy of landing in Vegas, and I
Oh.
say that because everybody knows the rules. There's a first stop. The first stop is always In-N-Out Burger.
Good answer.
Yes.
Great answer.
Absolutely.
And you guys screwed that up today. I
Okay.
came here first because this was on the way before In-N-Out Burger.
Okay,
So
there we go.
You should feel privileged.
Could have took us a minute out though.
Besides,
Great.
yeah, absolutely.
It's the best burger
I
establishment
know.
in the history of mankind.
That's right. I know
And
it.
it's
So
not even
I
close.
was raised West Coast, so I know In-N-Out Burger. I love In-N-Out Burger. So they're spreading back towards the east, and so whenever you come out west, you always stop in and go grab when you
Of
can.
course.
100%.
But Vegas story's cool. Let's get back on track. I don't know, man. Like, I was born and raised here. I grew up here. Made it all the way through high school graduation a year early. And then day of graduation, literally I walked, and then I had a 6:30 p.m. flight back to Ohio, and I went racing out of Ohio for the remainder of that year before I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. But I think it was when I came back one time. I might have been 22 or something like that, and I met a guy through the NASCAR circuit, just racing, stuff like that, but a guy that was out here that owned some of the exotics cars and whatever. Like, you could rent one and drive one around and whatnot. So he let me use a Lambo, and I took it out on the 215, and it was late at night, and I wanted to see how fast I could go.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I got it going pretty fast, and then it started to like hydro drift through, because it was like the 215 up by Centennial. Is that right?
Yeah.
Up over there where you go around that bend.
Yep.
And so it was like starting to drift out. I was scared shitless at that point. And I was like, okay, we're done. That's it. That's enough. So
How often do you feel like you're like in a regular car and you're just like, I kind of want to push right now?
no. I've been in trouble for speeding a few times. So
Got
I
it.
can't. I try not to anyways. I get in my vehicles now and I set the cruise and I roll.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
I just try to stroll around with traffic.
Maybe it's a
sure.
nice break for you just to like kind of just mob through normally.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily. I mean, where we come from, man, it's like they're 2-lane roads and they're basically paved goat trails. I mean, here it's all grid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Out there, it's stuff goes everywhere. So
Yeah.
I mean, you might go north, east, south, and west on one same road to end up going just north. You know what I mean? So it's a bit crazy where we're at, but. I don't know. There's been plenty of stories. There was a late night story here one time where a few of the NASCAR buddies and me, we all hung out, and it was a lot of the younger kids. And so it was championship week. We were hanging out. I think there was 4 or 5 of us. We went out to a bar at regular MGM, and it was like a not coyote. It was like a cowboy bar. I can't remember what the name of it was, but like a country bar. We're all hanging out, whatever. And so I wanted to hang with the young kids, and like we were going 1 for 1. You know?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was hurting after that one. It was so bad. I ended up, so I got pretty lit. I don't remember shit after about 9:30, 10 o'clock. We roll back. So my wife's with me too, but so she carries my ass back to the hotel. We're staying at the Wynn, and we go up to the room, and she was like, "You stink. You need to go take a shower." So I go in the shower, and I'm laying there, and I literally curled up on the floor and was just laying on the floor of the shower. And she comes in to check on me to make sure I'm not dead.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "You're fine, just whatever." So she left me in there. I kid you not, I was in the shower for 3 hours. And then
On? Water going?
water on.
Yeah, it's
going.
not your water
Yes.
bill. Good.
Yeah,
Run it up.
Yeah, Lake Mead's got plenty.
Run it
That's
up.
right.
Yeah.
Run it up.
Run it out. So we end up, I guess we got in at like 2 a.m. and I had like a 6:30, 7 o'clock call time for the morning to get going on stuff.
Yeah.
So Samantha she wakes me up at like 6 o'clock or something and pulls me out of the shower and is like, "You got to get ready. You got to leave here in an hour or something." And so anyways, she calls my PR guy and says, "You need to come on up to the room and get him because I'm done taking care of him. It's your responsibility now."
It's now the morning.
Yeah, it's
she
now
wants
the
to
morning.
trade-off, you
and
know?
now it's like media morning, and I'm not even like I'm still drunk.
Yeah. Sure.
I might as well just keep digging.
Yeah.
And so we go to the morning run that we have, and it's a media run and all that. And I literally every station that I went to, I was just laying on the floor like trying to sleep.
Oh.
And so it was ugly. That was bad.
That sounds like a proper night in Vegas.
Yeah,
We've all
it
been
was.
there.
Yeah.
We've all
We've all
been
been
there.
there. 100%.
It was a proper night in Vegas, but it didn't end up at any of the establishments.
Understood.
So carried on with
That's good.
That's
a
good.
good PG-13 there.
And
we
luckily,
go.
you were extra clean the next morning.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
Right?
You're
You're soaked.
3
hours of
shower
rinsing.
clean,
Yeah, exactly.
Do I smell good? Yeah, I took a nice shower.
sure.
That's right.
Can I ask you this? You're the winningest driver in NASCAR history. That's true, right?
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
Why are you not just sipping a cocktail on the beach right now? Why are you back doing 3 races this one weekend, risking your life?
Yeah, it's insane.
How addicted to the wins are you?
Winning is addictive. Yes, that's what it's all about. I would say that just being able to go out and have a great time, winning races, celebrating with your team, and all that sort of stuff. That's the greatest feeling. That's the most rewarding. So, unfortunately, my winning days have slowed down over the last few years. Last year, I only won 2 NASCAR races. one Cup race and one Truck Series race. I was taken out of the lead in like 3 Truck Series races and probably 4 or 5 Cup Series races. Coulda, shoulda, woulda won, but didn't. And I just remember back to the year maybe 2011 or 2012. I think I won 24 NASCAR races in that one year. That's the most ever in a year. And so
Crazy.
I would love to get back to those days, but I don't know. Those days you can't. Like, I'm only allowed 5 truck races. I'm only allowed 5 Xfinity races, and then I run 38 Cup races. So to be able to get 24 wins is virtually impossible this day and age.
Do you is it the feeling of racing, like when you're not racing, is it really just hard to imagine that would be a larger proportion of your life in the future than it is now, and you racing so much and so often?
Yeah, I mean, my son right now, he races, so like if I'm not racing, he's racing, so I'm going and doing it anyways. But I'm still young enough, I feel good enough right now where I'm able to go out there and still compete at the top of my game and have the chance to still win more races. And me winning that race this past weekend at Fontana, California Speedway, it gave me 19 years straight of winning a race in the Cup Series of NASCAR.
That's crazy.
Passing a record set by Richard Petty, who has like all NASCAR win records.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was at 18 years, so he and I were tied. So I surpassed him. So nobody's ever made it that long and won that consecutively, long consecutive years.
So you've won one race every year for the last 19 years.
That's right.
That's incredible. Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
What's the age tier at NASCAR really where it starts to get like, okay, like who's the Tom Brady age of NASCAR? Where's that at?
Harvick right now. So he's in his retirement year. So I think he's 46. I think he turns 47 before the season's over.
Wow.
So I'm 37.
Plenty of time.
Yeah,
Looking
you got
like
10 more
25.
years, you're good.
10 years ago, easy.
Yeah. I'm working on my crow's feet right now.
Great skincare routine. 3-hour
right,
showers.
right.
You're good to go.
I don't know. Dude,
Soaking in the bathtub.
am I
is what it
sponsored
is.
by them yet?
Yeah, right.
Not sponsored, but can be sponsored.
Secret
Yeah.
to Kyle Busch is 3-hour showers, everybody.
Yeah,
that's how
that's
it
the
works,
secret.
guys. That's how it works.
Soaking.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know where we were going with that. Move on.
I have a question real quick. I mean, so how do you even get started and want to drive NASCAR or get started? Like, is Vegas, it's not like a breeding ground for NASCAR, right? Like, how do you grow up and like say, I want to drive NASCAR?
Yeah, it's
because I was born and raised here too.
Okay, so my dad was a car guy. His dad was a car guy, and they're from Chicago, Illinois area, Schaumburg area, whatever. And so when that was in the 70s, when my dad and my mom got married, they came out here for their honeymoon. They liked it. They were like, we're going to move out there. So they moved out here and restarted their life and stuff like that. And so my dad just wanted to move out here because of the desert, no humidity, no snow, no salt, cars, right? Salt kills cars.
Sure.
In the 70s, think of all the metal cars
All
and
steel.
trucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not today's vehicles.
no, right.
Completely, entirely different today. But anyway, so in the 70s, moved out here. And so he got started at the local short track. He just went out there and just was watching some of the racing. And he was working at a dealership here in town. He was a mechanic. And the guy across the workspace from him had a race car that they worked on and raced. And he was about ready to give it up because they weren't really doing very well. They weren't fast or whatnot. So my dad was like, let me take that over. I'll run it. I'll race it and I'll take care of it. And so he did. He ended up winning 2 of the last 4 races of the season that year or something in the car. And so they redid it for the next year. He went out and he won the championship the next year at the local short track, so he was just hooked in and being a local regional type racer.
Yeah.
And so when my brother was born, when he turned 16, he got started. When I was 13, I got started. And, the rest is history. But we got started out there at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the little short track over there.
Yeah.
And that's where we cut our teeth and got our start. But we just always watched it on TV. My dad was just always into it and a car guy. He then was a Mac Tools distributor and sold tools around the Vegas area to different mechanics and stuff like that. So we were just always into it and just kind of did it. We never really thought it was going to go big time or we were going to make it anywhere, but we just kept doing it. And my brother kept moving up the ranks and he got a chance to drive for a regional team out of Vegas that went to, it was called Southwest Tour. And they ran California, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Nevada. There was races all the 5 states. And he ended up winning races in that and won a race on a big NASCAR Cup Series weekend in Sonoma, California, and got the recognition of like, oh, this kid's actually somebody decent. So he got a chance of going into NASCAR, and he kind of paved my way, which made it easier for me. But you still got to make your own when you get there and win. So
Facts.
yeah, fortunate to have Kurt do what he did. So that helped me pave the way. And I guess, that's kind of how you get your start.
There you go.
Yeah.
The local short track. I started in Legends cars, then modifieds, then late models. And I started when I was 13. So when I was 16, I had already gotten the call from the team owner that Kurt got the call from to go race in the truck series in NASCAR. So I only had 2.5 years of racing experience before getting thrown into the big time, So it happened pretty quick.
Can we talk about the Kyle Busch rule?
Which one?
I like that. I want to know more, by the way. But the one I'm talking about was where they changed the minimum age of being a NASCAR
This is
driver.
great. You guys are going like right in sequence.
Yeah,
We're
trying.
You must have watched Rowdy the documentary.
We got questions on that, by the way.
For sure.
I want to follow up on some of the things in the doc.
Yeah.
But just so everyone knows, that was a pretty crazy thing for you to change. You were 16, went into NASCAR, and because of the sponsored race by Marlboro, they kicked you out of the race, and then they changed the rule now that you have to be 18?
Yeah, so this is the truck series. When I was 16, I got to race 6 truck series races, and then we go to California Speedway for the final race of the year, because I've auditioned for the job, and they're like, you got the job for next year, right? And so I'm like, this is great, whatever. So we're in the last race of the year. I'm fastest in practice by like a good margin over the rest of the field. Actually, my teammate was second, who he had a good gap over third. So we were going to stomp their butt that weekend. And being 16 at a 2-mile racetrack, the state attorneys general read a newspaper article that said Kyle Busch, 16-year-old, set to make debut at California Speedway on Marlboro 500 weekend. Well, Marlboro was the sponsor of the IndyCar race at the time, not the NASCAR race that was there, but it was still Marlboro 500 weekend, and the advertising of that weekend, state attorneys general was like, no. Speaking of which, I've never met this person. I don't know who that person was at the time. I've never looked that up, but be nice to shake hands and pat you on the back. So got kicked out. I got called into the NASCAR hauler, and I'm like, I'm in trouble for going too fast. Like, they want me to slow down, whatever. You've kind of heard those stories over the years of the France family. They're like, hey, don't ruin my show,
Sure.
And so anyway, that's what I thought. Lo and behold, I got booted. They said, yeah, you're done. We'll see you when you turn 18. Bye-bye.
It's crazy.
What was it like being 16 around grown NASCAR drivers?
Yeah.
What was that has to be insane.
I mean, it's pretty intimidating, honestly, right? Like, you're going up against in that day and age, you're going up against the likes of, Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday, Ted Musgrave. There was a few other guys that I'm missing out on right now, but Andy Houston was one of them. But truck series guys that have been in the series for a few years, and you're going up and racing against them and beating them or competing for wins right out of the gate. And, so it makes yourself look good, feel good. Probably doesn't make them feel too good.
Not too many
Who's this
friends.
kid
Yeah,
coming
right.
here
Yeah,
doing
no,
this?
I have not made too many friends. Yeah.
It's like, because I feel like, especially when you're a teenager, right, you're like really a product of your environment and like growing up in just normal high school around normal high school kids. But I can't imagine being 16 and walking into a race as like with the other peers.
Yeah.
It
Grown
had to have
men.
been a really weird dynamic.
It is totally grown men, right?
Grown
You're not
men.
going to go up to them and be like, "Hey, man, how's the kids?" Being 16 years old,
Probably as
you know?
old as one of their kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was probably as old as some of their kids, exactly.
Yeah.
So but it was fun. A lot of them were they were nice. They were welcoming. They asked me a lot of questions of like, "How'd you get your start? How long have you been in it? What have you been doing?" Like, they didn't know a whole lot about me when I came in.
Yeah.
And so there was a bit of a learning curve on that, and just kind of figuring out where I come from and what experience I had. They were kind of shocked when they only knew that I was racing for 2.5 years.
Yeah,
of course. Crazy.
Because a lot of these guys are racing for 10, 15, 20 years and feel like they made it after 10 years or whatever in the truck series. And here I come at 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, real
And-
quick.
and-
they were probably
and
nice to you
winning.
for a second, and
Right.
then just
Yeah. So that was my welcome to NASCAR moment, I guess.
yeah, that had to have
Sick.
been really crazy. Well, speaking of your documentary, we watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And the introduction has this quote from you, and it says, "The thing you want to be able to do is to be well liked when you retire. I know right now I'm not close to retiring and I'm not close to being well liked. Does being well liked matter to you now?
Yes and no. I mean, I still would go by that quote, but honestly, I feel really good about my career path and trajectory and the things that I've done and accomplished and all that, which has been fantastic. Been around a lot of great people over the years that have gotten me to the success that I've had.
Right.
But the fans have not so much liked some of my antics over the years or my personality, my absolute hatred of losing. I'm a passionate, fiery, driven, motivated individual. And when I know how hard it is to compete at the top level and to work as hard as I do at this level to win. And when you don't win, it's like, damn, man, like, how much more do I have to do to win? You know, you're taking time away from your family and your race team and your other businesses or whatever you might have at this point in age for me. And so it's just, you know, gutting when you are oh so close to winning some races and you don't end up pulling through. But I don't know, that kind of rubbed people the wrong way for a long time. But I feel like now, as I said earlier, you know, I've not won a whole lot lately. Like I've not done that, and I want to get back to that winning way. And maybe if I go out there and dominate this season and win 8 cup races and 4 Xfinity races and 5 truck races, then they're going to be pissed off at me again. You know? And they're going to be like, I hate that guy. This is why I hate that guy. He wins too much, you know? So that's okay. I'm okay with that. It's when the winning slows down, which it has the last 3 years. And that's why you kind of always think in the back of your mind about retirement, you know? And it's like, okay, it's been slowing down. It slows down for all the greats. They don't win a whole lot towards the later stages of their career. So is it time to give it up? And I'm like, man, I am 37. I am right in prime time, you know? So it was like, no, I got to find somewhere that I can race and race for wins.
Yeah.
How intense is that competitiveness between you and the other drivers? Like the drama wise, it seems that getting people with that like-minded personality all together and throwing them in extremely fast cars and having them go race NASCAR, right?
Just far away from each other.
Yeah, you're just breeding the drama between everyone.
Well, that's why everybody tunes in every week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? They want to see what's going to happen next. No, there are some personalities that you just are like, you don't get along with. You don't like. I don't talk to them at all. And then there's other guys that, you know, you can be cordial with. You might mess up and get into them or crash them, or they might hit you or whatever. But after the race is over, you know, there was no hard feelings, and you can, you know, pat each other on the back and go on to next week. You know, I think the most notable one of that for me is probably Kyle Larson. You know, him and I have had some great battles over the years where we've raced really hard and we've doored each other and we've ran into each other, and he's put me in the wall and I spun him out, and, you know, but after the race is over, we get out and shake hands and just know, like, okay, man, that was fun, but, you know, we're either going to keep doing that or we're going to be clean the next time. And it's been good, you know? So, other times I've made mistakes and run into the sport's most popular driver twice. And that doesn't go over well with the fans. They don't like that. And I'm like, oh, but I screwed up. Like I made a mistake. And what's interesting about those moments, like Chase Elliott, I think I did it in COVID year, 2020, 2019, whatever it was, at Darlington, where I was trying to blend back into line and I was watching the mirror to see if I was clear to get in front of Harvick. And I clipped Chase and I spun Chase to the infield. And people have such a high, which I put a lot of pressure on myself too, and I put a high demand on me, but they were like, Kyle Busch doesn't make those types of mistakes. Like he did that on purpose. Like that wasn't like, that was malicious.
Sure.
And I'm like, guys, hold up a second. Like my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit him, you know? So, but I mean, that's what you get when you carry yourself to that standard sometimes too.
Have you accepted that? Like the title of like the bad boy of NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it for a while.
You've had it
for
forever?
a long time. Yeah, that's why I wear black hats. So
There we go.
Yeah.
We're all in uniform today, guys.
Yeah.
That's
right.
We're all in uniform.
Is there a rowdy tattoo anywhere we need to
No,
know about?
I don't. I don't have that. No. No. I should have brought my rowdy energy in here today, but I forgot it. I missed it. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, when you
I already had
tattoo.
mine for the day. So typically I have one, you know, so.
It lasts all day. Gets
That's
you through the
right.
day.
It
There you
does.
go.
Yeah.
There you
drink
go.
it at lunch. You're all the way through. Maybe you want one at dinner in Vegas so you can go even farther.
Exactly, for sure.
That's true.
That's it.
If you want late night showers, you can stay up for
That's
it. You know,
right.
your rowdy energy.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's a
Rowdy
hydrator
energy.
too. So every pregame before I ever go out, I always drink a rowdy energy because then I can go and drink. And then the next morning, I have not woken up with a headache before or anymore since I've always done my pregame with Rowdy. So I'm just
Electrolytes are in it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
Potassium, magnesium. Yeah.
Sets you up for success.
There you go.
Yeah.
For us guys drinking in our 30s, we need all the help we can
100%.
get.
Right?
Energy, hydration,
That's right.
recovery.
Put it all
Yeah.
in one.
Is
it
it
before
available
you
in
start.
Vegas, by the way?
Yeah, we're at some Terrible Hurt stores.
Okay.
Yeah, Terrible stores.
All right, I'm going to
so-
go get Rowdy Energy tonight.
We'll pick
Attaboy.
some up. We'll pick
For
some
sure.
up. I'll throw it in a
That's-
beer bong,
yeah.
slam it real quick. We're good.
We'll be fired up about it. Okay, that's crazy. Just from a first-hand perspective, I've always wondered what it must be like to be in that scene, to go through that, and knowing you have to see these guys the next week or see them when you actually pull in to the pit
Right.
after it all goes down.
Yeah.
What's that like when you guys get out of the car and you see each other and you know what just happened, whether it's your fault or their fault?
Yeah.
That moment.
Oh, so there was a 2017 incident here at Vegas with someone, Joey Logano, who just absolutely flat out crashed me, and I knew it. Like, he just floored it right in the middle of the corner and turned right up the track and slammed into my door and spun me out. We were coming to the checker flag, and it was for third place, and I'm like, it wasn't even for the win.
Crash me for bronze?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, damn, I didn't know bronze was worth that much.
Yeah, right. Come on.
So I get out of my car, I march my happy ass down pit road, and I walk right up to him and I punch him in the face.
Let's go. We saw. Yeah.
Yeah,
We saw it.
And so then his crew tackles me, and I end up on the ground, and I think my head hit his car or something, and I'm bleeding, and he says he never got hit, but I think he had a red mark on his face afterwards. So I don't know. My thumb hurt for freaking 3 months after that. So I swear
Yeah, can you
I
imagine
made
driving
contact.
with that just the whole time?
Yeah. So my grip definitely went down after that. It wasn't the same.
I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like the intensity of driving, the fights have to be such a common occurrence. Like everyone's so passionate about it. It means
Yeah.
so much financially. It means so much for just your pride. It means so much. You care so much about it, just winning in general, just as competitors.
I think there would be a hell of a lot more if it wasn't for corporate America that we have to rely on to be able to go to the racetrack and race, right?
Right,
So,
right.
which I did that in an M&M's uniform, which I had the M&M's family, they had my back, so I could get away with a lot of stuff from them because they knew who I was away from the track. But
Yeah.
that was one of those where the family was actually like, they were like, "Did you feel good after that?" And I'm like, "Yes," and they were like, "Good."
Yeah.
So-
By the way, I love how NASCAR in general really buys into their sponsors.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
one of the greatest visuals that I've seen from you, from like buying into your sponsors, you won a race. I don't remember what race it was. And this was in the doc, and I looked it up as well to get a photo of it. But you won, and you actually had bags of M&Ms, and you're holding the bags of M&Ms in the air too.
Right.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you had the full thing, but you actually had the bags of candy, which is great.
We would have bags of candy. The guys would tear them open, and then when we're like, I get out of the car and we're like woohooing, they're like throwing the M&M's
M&Ms.
pieces at me, and I'm getting pegged,
Yeah.
in the back of the head. And then there's other times where they've either got beer bottles or sports drink bottles or whatever, and they're spraying those because they're just in victory lane, depending on what sponsors victory lane. And so they're spraying those, and then when they're done with them, what's always weird to me is the crew guys are like looking at me, and so you throw where you look, and they're throwing the bottles at me.
Damn.
And I'm getting hit, and I'm like, why are you guys throwing the bottles? Like, spray it and then drop it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they
They
just
empty it and then throw
Chuck
them at
it.
him.
they
Right.
empty them and chuck them.
For sure.
If you're gonna get hit, you might as well get hit when winning. you know?
So I learned a long time ago when I was a kid. Not a kid, but when I came into NASCAR and I was winning and doing burnouts and I was on the front stretch, sometimes there was objects that were getting thrown at you from the grandstands. And so from like the third win on, I was like, keep your helmet on. Every time I get out of the car, I keep my helmet
There's
on.
a video right there. There's a photo right there doing the bow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
there
bow.
it is.
I always keep my helmet on.
There you
So
go.
Smart. Veteran move.
Yeah,
Better move.
Better
exactly,
move.
yeah.
Better
It only
move.
takes one time.
Yeah, 100%. Can we talk about the crash?
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
You had one of the most intense NASCAR crashes, and then coming back and winning the Cup Series championship afterwards. But can you explain what that feeling is to go through a significant NASCAR crash, knowing maybe that's about to happen?
Yeah, just to set the tone, 2015 racing in Daytona, start of the season, I'm in Xfinity. The reason why I was still running Xfinity races at Daytona at that point is I had never won the February race. I wanted to win the February race. I had won in July, but not February. So anyway, start of the season, trying to win that race. I'm pushing my teammate. I see a hole open up through the middle, and I want to push him and get the run started. And we're just coming out of the tri-oval, and I started my push too soon. I spin him out. He gets crooked and then comes back across the track, and I shoot the middle. And we never touch. He never hits me, but his air off the nose of his car turns my car sideways, because you're always just on such the edge of driving these cars that any little nick or move or hit or something can spin you out. And so I spin all the way across the inside of the racetrack and into a concrete wall on the inside. We have safer barriers on the outside, which have foam on them and stuff like that, which they still hurt. That doesn't make them. That doesn't make them softer. They're just.
You're going fast enough.
You're going fast enough. Yeah, everything hurts exactly. But so I hit the concrete wall. So it was 90 miles an hour, 90 G's, whatever the heck it was, and I break my right leg and my left foot. Double compound fracture in my right leg, and then midfoot break on the left foot. And so after that, like, I'm trying to get out of the car catches a little fire, and I'm like, I got to get out. I try to push with my right leg, and it's just nothing. Man. It's limp.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti. Exactly. It's like pushing a cooked noodle. Yeah. And then, I tried to start. I'm like, okay, use my left foot. I start trying to push with my left foot, and I'm like, okay, left foot not good either. So I just pulled myself up to the door, sat on the door, and then asked for the safety workers to come over and help me get me to the ground. And then they helped keep my leg elevated and got me in the ambulance and went on my merry way. So had surgery that night, and then flew back home 2 days later to the hospital in North Carolina, because I had a really good foot doctor that I liked in North Carolina. So he fixed my foot. First guy fixed my leg. Next guy fixed my foot. And then was at home, for 11 weeks doing rehab and all the icing and the stretching and the hot tubbing and everything for 11 weeks to try to speed up the healing process, and finally got back in a car and was able to race again after 11 weeks. So, yeah.
It seems so fast.
That's very fast.
It is. I mean, you're not going to go play football.
No,
in 11 weeks. But for our sport, like, I still had plates and screws in my foot when I went back racing, and my leg. But in my foot killed me. My foot felt the worst. My right leg was fine. It really didn't hurt because you had a rod that went all the way down with screws that held your leg right, But yeah, the foot was the painful one.
It's insane.
What type of pressure do you like on a NASCAR car?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a crazy question, but the pressure that you need to use your foot for has to be significant.
Well, so
and sustained.
Do you drive with 1 foot or 2 feet?
1 foot.
1 foot.
I don't have a stick right now, but I kind of.
So okay, so even if you're not in a stick, you still drive with 1 foot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I drive with 1 foot or 2 feet. 2 feet mostly. So when you're a NASCAR driver, you drive with 2 feet.
Yeah.
So you gas with the right, and then you brake with the left. You really don't need the clutch just to take off. You don't even really use it to shift. So you're always just kind of like 2-footing. So you're asking about the pressure, like braking with your left foot was excruciating. I mean, you're trying to press
That's crazy.
like
800
pounds of pressure. That's not the same as like benching 800 pounds, but you're trying to push 800 pounds of pressure, or even at road courses, sometimes it's 1,000 pounds of pressure that you have to push through the brake pedal in order to get your car to whoa up for a turn and then make the corner.
It's insane.
Yeah. So that was, the foot hurt the worst. That was the most not fun. But made it through the year. I can't tell you how relieved I was. So in the off season, I won the championship that year, by the way.
That's crazy. Came back.
Yeah.
The story's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. It's a Lifetime movie in itself.
Yeah, for sure. That 1 year alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And so came back, won the championship, and then after the season was over, after the banquet was over, I couldn't wait. Got back to Charlotte and went back to my foot doctor and had him take out my plates and screws, and then the leg guy took all the stuff out of my leg as well too. But when I had to spend the night in the hospital just to wake up the next morning, make sure there was no infections or anything, and then I walked out of the hospital, my foot felt like it was brand new.
Wow.
Like overnight surgery, stitches still in it, everything, plates and screws come out. I'm walking out of there and I'm like, this thing feels amazing. I'm like, I should have done this a lot sooner, but I would have had to have missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When you take the plates and screws out, they put you down for 2 weeks. But anyway.
That story is just
insane story. Yeah.
insane.
Getting through the season, then going getting it fixed after is insane.
Yeah.
When you were going through that crash, when you were headed towards the wall, like across the infield, was that like, when you're in it, does it slow down a little bit for you, knowing what's about to happen? Or you just like
it felt like 5 minutes.
Oh, damn.
And when you watch the video, it's probably 7 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, it's 6 seconds. It's really not that long, but felt like minutes. You're just processing and thinking of so many different things in your head. You're like, as I was spinning, I'm like, okay, I got to get the car to rudder. I got to get it to change directions. And so you crank the wheel all the way right and you're steering right and you're on and off the brake trying to get the thing to like start steering that way. But it was in such a slide that it never caught.
Yeah,
right.
it never
Great move. Great word. And so, you know, finally when it came to a point where I was getting closer to the wall, I'm like, well, I just have to slam the brake and slow down. Like I have to cut speed.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to hit this wall a ton. So I need to take my feet back. I told myself, I'm like, take your feet back, take your feet back, take your feet back. So when I was sliding on pavement and then I got to the grass and I hit the grass, that's when I like tucked and closed my eyes and everything. I forgot to take my legs back.
Oh.
And so I still hit the wall, you know, with my foot on the brake, and that's why it broke my foot. And then my right leg was too close to the accelerator. And when you're always wide open on the throttle, there's what's called a throttle stop. So you don't extend the throttle linkage and bend stuff or break stuff. So there's a throttle stop that you can put your foot against to know that you're wide open. Well, when the car hit the wall and the engine moved back in the car like 8 inches, it moved the gas pedal back towards me 3 inches. So that initial just smack of the gas pedal hitting my leg just snapped my leg.
Damn.
So that's
All that
how
force.
that's how all that force. That's how it all happened. Yeah.
But you came back and got that win.
I
know what I mean?
I got that big win.
Got that big
I got that
win.
championship, boy.
That's great. Honestly, the fact that that you came back at all, but then you came back and won some races when you came back and actually won the cup.
Right.
Was just,
I didn't at that point. Like I didn't know if I was ever going to race again.
Right. No,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know. And then when you get back, I got back, and the first 4 weeks, I crashed like every week. I hit the wall. I ran into somebody else. I got crashed with somebody. Like it just the rain. Actually, there was rain at Michigan. And I was the only car that got loose and spun in the rain, and I was just like, what the hell is going on?
What the hell's going on?
And can I even drive a race car anymore? You know? And then I won my 5th race back, so that was good. That's when I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah,
That first race back in the car has to be a little weird as well, huh?
It's like nerve wracking.
dude, I fell out of the seat, man. And like the first race was the shortest race of our year. I didn't fall out of the seat in that one. I was fine in that one. I think I finished 6th. And then the next one was the longest race of the year. It was the Coca-Cola 600. It was 5.5 hour long race, 600 miles. And I fell out of the seat after about mile marker 450. I was done, and I still made it 150 more miles, but it wasn't pretty.
Damn.
Just hanging on for dear life.
And I
inside
finished
the car.
10th. I did get a top 10, but I couldn't walk when I got out of the car. Like I literally asked if they could bring me a wheelchair to take me back to the hauler after the race was over.
That's a long ass 5.5 hours.
Yeah, bro.
600 miles.
What are you eating before a race to make you last 5.5 hours?
In and out on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whoever the sponsor is.
Yeah, M&M's.
Yeah.
I just gave them way too much love.
There it is.
They're not with me anymore, unfortunately. But now Samantha, my wife, she makes food for me, whether it's lunch before a day race or dinner before a night race. But typically, it's going to be something filling, you know, pasta, carbs, stuff like that. So all the good stuff that guys like to eat.
Yeah.
So I'm all fine with that. I'm not having a salmon, a rice, and a green bean before a race. That ain't happening.
No chance.
No way.
That stank too.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
sweating your ass off
In the
You're
helmet?
there,
Yeah.
you pasta
In
it
the
up.
helmet? No way.
And then like breathing and smelling that salmon like right on you. No,
Just
way.
asparagus right back and forth.
Oh
to your
yeah,
own
yeah,
face.
right.
No,
yeah.
you can't have that.
Yeah, imagine if you pee on yourself with
Yeah.
that.
All right. So what's the bathroom situation in a NASCAR race like?
Some guys do it. So I can't do it.
Even after 5.5 hours, something like that.
I know. Yeah, I have to dehydrate before a race in order to make sure that I make it through the race. I drink during the race, not before the race.
Got it. So once you're in the car and you're going, now you're drinking.
I
out of
can
your,
drink
yeah,
while I'm
got it.
going.
What do you
but
mean some guys do it? Like
They piss in the car. They piss in their seat and
piss
while
their
they're
pants?
driving.
Like they piss their pants?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can't
Cool.
do it. I've tried.
I mean,
there was a race. So I was a rookie. It was my rookie year. It was the 3rd race of the year at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a 500-mile race. This
Right.
race is like 4 hours long. And there was a red flag on lap 3. So we're all sitting there on the racetrack because there was a big crash and they're cleaning it up and whatever. And I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. Like, you guys think I can get out and go to the bathroom? And they're like, no, bro. Like, you're sitting over there on the front stretch.
No, dude.
There's no
Like,
way.
Focus.
Unless you drive into the pits and then you get out of your car, like we'll have to go restart back at the back of the pack. But I was in like, I don't know, 12th or something like that at the time. So I was like, okay, whatever. We'll see how. So I made it the whole. There was a caution, another caution later in the race, probably 300 miles in. Like I'm just like scrunching as hard as I can to try to piss myself, and it won't come out.
I just can't physically.
I can't do
I
it.
can't do this
I
to
can't
myself.
do it.
man.
Kyle, you're an adult. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this.
I know. Yeah, it's like what do they
been
call?
training
I have a
against
shy bladder. That's
Yeah,
it.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
not pissing on myself.
Stage fright
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
biggest stage, right?
Stage fright. Like nobody's gonna see it. You know?
Yeah.
You're in your car.
Your crew chiefs coach you through it.
Yeah.
Kyle, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I love that. All right, speaking of winning and all that, out of curiosity, us and our listeners, the money in the NASCAR race. When you win a NASCAR race, how does that get divvied up between the team, you, your the crew,
Sponsors.
everything? How does that work?
So, your sponsors basically pay the nut to go to the track.
Okay.
Right. So like it depends. Different teams obviously take different amounts of money to go to the racetrack. I'm just going to use an average number probably. So $500,000 is what you need for a cup car to go to the racetrack to go race a race.
Got it.
So
It's like your entry fee.
it's no, your entry fee is probably $5,000 to
Okay.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
But the cost of like paying the people, making sure you
Got
have a
it.
car, having an engine,
Right.
buying the tires, the fuel, the travel for the team, the hotel rooms, the hauler going up and down the road,
Makes
like
sense.
everything, right?
Yep.
There's so many different line items of the P&L that make up that $500,000. But so you race the race and then there's winnings. So after a race is over, let's just say the winner takes home $400,000. So that all that money comes from NASCAR. That 400 grand gets paid to the team, and then the team and the driver, they have a contract. You know, no different than NFL players with the
Right,
team.
sure.
I have a contract. I'm an independent contractor, so I have a contract with the team, and it can be anywhere between. I've heard guys between 20-25% that they get of the purse. I've heard guys as high as 85% that they get of the purse. It all depends. You know, like if you have a high base salary, you're probably going to get less winnings. If you have
Got
a
it.
low base salary, they're going to give you more in winnings. They're going to make it more incentive based.
Just like a
Yep.
guaranteed contract versus incentive-based contract
Right.
and everything
Yep.
else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys are all different. So the more popular area I think that a lot of guys float around is between 40 and 60. I think that's where people land.
That's
Nice.
the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And what about like the pit crew and the team? Do they get portion of the winnings every time you get it?
No, I think they get bonuses. Like they might get a win bonus. Like,
Got it.
hey,
Got
if
it.
we win, you get $1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And they also get, so the pit crew guys, the guys that go over the wall and do the stops, they'll get incentive bonuses where if they have a pit stop under a
Certain
certain
time.
second bracket,
Yeah.
exactly, that they'll get bonuses
That's
for
cool.
that. So they get incentivized as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. When you win like the NASCAR Cup, like the big boy, the 2-time champion.
Yeah.
When you got
He's
two
done
of
it
them.
twice.
Right. Do you get does the team get like rings or anything
Oh,
like
yeah.
else out?
Yeah,
Oh.
so there's ring races and then there's the championship. You get a ring too. So a ring race is like the Daytona 500,
Right.
Got
the
it.
Coca-Cola 600, the Southern 500, and it used to be the Talladega 500, the fall Talladega race years ago, and it was also the Brickyard 400, which both of those kind of lost their luster, I guess you'd say, and so now it's just those big three. So Daytona 500, Coke 600, and Southern 500.
What's your absolute favorite race?
I love Bristol. Bristol's my favorite track.
Sure.
I love going to Bristol. Bristol's always fun. It's a short half-mile racetrack. It's in the mountains of Tennessee. The summer race, the night race is always close to sold out. It's been super fun for people to go up there. They camp out all week because if you go there and you try to get a hotel room, it's like $500 a night and you have to have a 3-night minimum.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you might as well just rent a motorhome and stay on property
Yeah.
at the racetrack and just camp out and have fun with your buddies and drink a ton of drinks.
Yeah,
Right.
For sure.
And
Absolute shit ton.
Adult beverages. Yeah.
and look like me after that night in Vegas.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think you can take a 3-hour shower on a motorhome though.
Yeah,
You're
no,
gonna
no
run out of
chance.
water.
Upgrade that. shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're-
upgrade
you're
that. That's cool to know. I think like there's so many massive races that NASCAR has, but Bristol, I've never been to Bristol, but I mean,
Is it because it's super fast because it's a smaller track, or
Yeah, because it's like an action track where a lot of people will kind of bump and grind a little bit
Got
and
it.
bang on each other, and
Yeah.
there's some hurt feelings after that one. People come out of there a little pissed off.
I like that.
Some action
More your
one.
style. Yeah.
Yeah.
has when people try to rush the field in other sports like soccer, football, has anyone ever tried to rush the track when you were around? Like
a couple of years ago, there was a fan at Richmond who climbed the catch fence and was sitting on top of the catch fence just watching the cars go by. He was up there for 15, 20 laps before anybody like really saw him. And finally I don't remember, did they throw? I don't remember if they threw a yellow for that or not in order to go get him down, but they.
He was like,
Sir,
I like it up here. That's a nice view.
It was a great view.
Sir, danger though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, they hauled his ass off, so I'm sure he hasn't come back.
That's crazy.
For sure.
NASCAR fans are wild, huh?
Yeah, yeah, they're passionate, very
They're passionate.
They're
Very
passionate,
passionate.
about their favorite driver.
Yeah.
They're passionate about their favorite manufacturer, and they're passionate about the sponsors. You know,
Interesting.
like there's a lot of NASCAR fans that were NASCAR fans that were just M&M's fans. Like it didn't matter who was driving the M&M's car; they just wanted to always follow
Really?
the M&M's car.
Okay.
So it's been Ernie Irvan, Kenny Schrader, Elliott Sadler, myself, whatever. You know, like
Interesting.
Dale Earnhardt forever, right? Like he's the Intimidator. He's always known to be the man in black, driving that black GM Goodrich
Right.
car. You know,
Classic.
and classic, right? And so people will still die to buy that stuff. You know, like that's their guy.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's just NASCAR fans. That's
Just
You know,
iconic.
It's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
It's iconic.
What's really interesting
yeah.
is that's true. Like I always wanted an Eminem kind of starter jacket kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
I
yeah.
don't know who the driver was. I just know I want the Eminem one.
Yeah,
It was
it's
like,
like the
it was-
culture of it.
who's that guy, basketball player that always wears them? Was it Russell Westbrook? Is that who
Always
it was?
where you
Yeah.
rock
He
those.
always he's always rocking the M&M's
Yeah.
gear going
Yeah.
into his games and stuff like that.
For
So
sure. It's like a cultural thing in LA. I'm
Yeah.
from LA, exactly where he's
Yeah.
from, kind
Yeah.
of. So
There
yeah.
was and then there was another guy. So there's a guy who owns a limousine company out of Chicago, and he's always sitting behind the Chicago White Sox home plate. And so he had this M&M's jacket on for years because he was like superstitious.
Sure.
It's good luck, right? Because
Okay.
I think he first started going to those games wearing that jacket. They won the World Series way back when. They haven't won too many of them. What was that, 2009 or something?
Been a minute.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was wearing the previous team jacket. So it was Elliott Sadler jacket. So after seeing that, and my family, my wife's family and my family were all kind of around the Chicago area. So we brought that guy to a race, and we got him a new Kyle
Updated
Busch
him a little
M&M's
bit. There you
jacket
go.
to update him. And he's been wearing that same one ever since.
you
That's
go.
a great story.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Lock them
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
You
People
know?
get tied to them because we were all kind of in high school at the same time. And
Yeah.
in high school, all the kids would wear them. It was the
Yeah.
rainbow Jeff Gordon one,
The
the
DuPont
Eminem
one,
one,
yes.
Exactly.
and
Yes.
then the
Trust me,
black
I had the
Goodrich
rainbow one.
Yeah, everyone had them in high
Everybody
school.
had 'em.
that,
Everyone-
that rainbow one, the DuPont one was
For
big
sure.
too,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then the Kellogg's one was actually
Kellogg's
big
one,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And speaking
so
of one
funny.
of the more iconic ones, the red Dale Earnhardt Jr. one.
That
That was. I want to ask.
King of Beers.
Right, the King of Beers one.
Yeah.
The from your doc, the movie on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. being on that. What's you guys' relationship now? There's an interesting story from the history of you both, from
Yeah.
his perspective.
No, so the Dale Jr. Download, he has his own podcast. A few years ago, I don't know, 2014 maybe, 13 maybe, I went on his podcast and we hashed it out. So
Sick.
his podcast, we film at like 10 in the morning maybe, something like that.
Okay.
So I brought a 12-pack of Budweiser
There you go.
On sponsor.
and donuts.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
So my old team owner, Rick Hendrick, my first team owner that I had when I was in NASCAR at 18, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, they were fighting with one another. They were teammates, and they were having a little hissy fit with each other. So Rick had them have a meeting with each other with milk and cookies. So they had a milk and cookies meeting,
That's cool.
you know. So I was like, okay, we're going to do a Budweiser donut
Budweiser
meeting.
donut.
Beer
I like that.
donuts.
I like
Yeah.
that.
So we hashed it out over beer and donuts on his podcast. But yeah, no, Junior and I, we get along well now. He grew up a lot. I grew up a lot. You know, we were both punk kids at that time, and we didn't really mesh with one another. I came into the sport at 18. I love Dale Jr. Like, I was actually a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan when he was winning races in Xfinity and winning championships in Xfinity, and then he got to Cup, and he won his first race in the All-Star race in 2000 before he even ever won a Cup Series race. And like, I was a Junior fan. Like, I liked the guy, you know. But when I came into NASCAR, I was a little jealous, a little envious. Like, I wanted to hang out with him. Like, Dale Jr.'s on covers of Rolling Stone.
Sure.
He's
Yeah.
in
Rockstar.
Playboy.
Rockstar.
You know, like he's
He's a
He was the
Rockstar.
mainstream like athlete of
rock
the NASCAR
star,
sport.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
like he's
sure.
hanging out with Kid Rock and
Yeah.
Three Doors Down and all Bon Jovi and all those cool dudes.
Classic in
And
2000.
hot chicks coming around.
hot
all
chicks,
the
that's
time,
what it
right?
is.
Like,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what it is.
And so, anyways, like, you know, I wanted to go to his house parties and shit like that, but I wasn't 21 yet.
Yeah.
So I was never cool. I was never one of the cool kids. I was never invited over. So it maybe rubbed me the wrong way and pissed me off. So we were never friends. But then he and I grew up and we hashed it out, and we're good now.
20s and 30s are a different decade. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That's for
for
damn
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
That is for damn sure.
And that was the day and age too, where there wasn't like social media.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have Instagram. I think we were all just barely texting each other. It was still like the old small Nokias where you're hitting 3 buttons.
Yeah.
T9 text
To get to a T. Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's crazy. Well, he was very honest about your early relationship in the documentary, so I wanted to see where you guys are at now. That's good.
I actually asked him to go on there and be on there. So
That's
it was
great.
my invite.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
throw it
assumed
out
he
there.
had your blessing.
Yeah,
of course.
There was actually 2 other drivers we asked to go on there, and they said no. So
Who were they?
Kevin Harvick.
Okay.
Through all the Harvick stuff,
Yeah.
he didn't want to go on there. And then I think Brad Keselowski. I don't think he wanted to go on there.
What was it like making a documentary about yourself?
I thought it was weird. Like I was totally against the whole idea from the very start. I did not want to do it. The reason why it all happened though is because the guy doing it, the lead, I call him a kid. Him and I are around the same age. He was a Mars family member. So he started his own productions company, and he wanted to make a documentary on me because he grew up watching me. Like I was driving the M&M's car in 2008. I think he was 9 or 10 years old, so he's probably 8 years younger than me, I guess. And so he grew up with me, watching me driving his family's car. And so he started this company, and he wanted to make the documentary, and so we did it.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah. We really got cut back on a lot of newer footage, like live footage, up-to-date footage, because that was COVID.
Right.
So they didn't get to follow. Like they were going to follow me for a whole year and get like behind the scenes, like everything.
Yeah.
And COVID cut it off, and he had already spent 7 digits of money to put this thing together on the project. And so we kept filling in with I was like, dude, there's plenty of footage. Trust me. The library is slam full.
You're good.
We're good.
I've been doing this for a minute.
Right. And so we made it. It worked out well.
What was that like, the final screening, when you sat down probably with your wife or your friends and you watched the final cut?
Yeah, so I got to see the acts. They would always make an act and then send it to me.
Okay.
And so when it all got put together and we got to see it, like I was making a lot of revisions, and I was like, this is spelled wrong. Like this isn't right. You guys have these 2 things out of order, you know? So I fixed a lot of it, but I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think a lot of fans, whether you're a Kyle Busch fan or a NASCAR fan or even just a casual fan, and you watch this thing, you're like, this guy's a character.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, like, okay, I'm either going to pull for him or I'm not going to pull for him. That's no different than what it is today. But I think a lot of people saw more of my personality and just kind of who I was through that time. And I think honestly, it's gained me some fans, people checking that out and watching that. But
it showed the human side of the sport a lot, right? The behind the scenes
Yeah.
and why you do what you do, or why NASCAR is the way it is, or why drivers do what they do.
Yeah. The one thing that I feel like we missed on was there was a time in the movie, in the documentary, where I got into it with another driver and I just flat out just rammed through him and rammed him in the wall. And they didn't build up to that moment. Like it only looked like I did it in that moment, like right there. Like the guy hit me a little bit and then I totally wiped him out. But like the 5 years before that, of the battles that we had and the run-ins that we had, we didn't show that.
Sure.
Right.
Because they were like, man, you don't want to be too petty about it, that you remembered it for so long.
I'm Mr. Petty.
That then you took it out on this guy 6 years later, and I'm like, but no, yes, put it.
That's the reason
Yes.
behind it.
This movie should be 20 minutes longer. Let's go.
So back in 2004, I was racing for a Busch Series at the time, Xfinity Series now, championship, the tier number 2 championship in NASCAR. And I was racing against Martin Truex Jr. for the championship. Him and I were going neck and neck through the year. We passed each other for the points lead, I don't know, 10 times. It was getting later in the season. I think it was 2 races to go left in the year. We were racing at Darlington. I'm trying to pass this guy. And I get underneath him down the front straightaway, and he doesn't give me room getting into the corner at Darlington. Like, it's only 1 lane wide anyways. And the old adage of how you grew up racing at Darlington was when somebody gets a run on you, you kind of let them go so you guys don't crash. Well, he didn't let me go into the corner, so we raced down in there, and I'm getting loose, and I just barely touch him. Gets him really loose, and he saves it and corrects the car. And I'm like, okay, good job. And then he brake checks me.
Oh,
Slams on the brakes going 150 miles an hour, and I plow into him, destroys the front of my car. So now I have to come in the pits and completely like tape up the front of my car and work on my car. And I had to burn a set of tires at that point in the race in order to put my car back together. And then later on in the race, I'm out there on older tires because we had to preserve a set. and I end up spinning and hitting the wall and all kinds. It cost me the championship.
Damn.
So people don't remember that part.
Yeah.
Now they will.
They're gonna know now.
Will.
They're gonna know now.
Of what I remember. So, I mean, yeah, it's a little petty, but us race car drivers, man, we're like elephants. We don't forget.
People don't
Everything.
forget.
Remember everything.
People don't forget.
That's right.
Dude, but back to the doc. I mean, it was a really good way. When I watched a little bit, and I'm a casual NASCAR fan. I'm a casual motorsports fan in general, right? But to get that feeling of the longevity of how long things carry over and where the race is was good. So I think it was a great idea for you to do the project. But I know even sometimes watching ourselves or listening to ourselves, it's just
cringe
weird.
moments.
Sometimes, no matter how many times you do
Yeah.
it. I'm assuming watching
Oh, trust me.
a movie about you, you're like,
Not even the movie. When I pull up Kyle Busch YouTube, it's a little cringy.
all right.
So I'm glad my kid doesn't know that yet.
Yeah,
sure.
well, no
Yeah,
avoiding
he's
that.
gonna learn,
No
but-
avoiding
100%.
that.
Yeah. I'm going to delete that YouTube app.
Yeah, real quick.
It's gonna be on TikTok.
Yeah,
It's
good
fine.
luck on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be on everything
It's on
else.
everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, what celebrity or athlete do you think could go into NASCAR and try it out really quick? Is there anyone?
I don't know. You see a lot of these football guys, baseball guys. I think Bryce Harper's coming to the race this weekend. He's
Nice.
a Vegas boy,
Vegas,
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if they can make it. I don't know if they could cut it.
Wow.
But I don't know that we could. I definitely would never make it as a football player. I wanted to be a football player when I was a kid growing up, and my dad was like, "Hell no, you're not playing football."
Right.
And so I was playing baseball, and finally my dad was like, "Okay, you have to decide. Are you going to play baseball or are you going to race cars? Because you're killing your grandma. You can't keep going to both of these things all
Yeah.
during the week. Pick one."
Yeah.
So I chose racing, which I kick myself every day because I always hear about like the Bryce Harpers of the world and the contracts they get, and I'm like,
400
what an
million.
idiot.
What an idiot,
What an
dude.
idiot.
Bryce Harper's contract's got a couple zeros on that bad boy.
Yeah, no joke. Him, Aaron Judge, all them hot dogs.
100%.
But so I don't know. Shaq, he got in a NASCAR car one time.
Yeah?
Oh, they had to they
They
had
had
to,
NASCAR
like,
cars big enough for Shaq?
well, they had to cut the door to make the window bigger with
So
a
he could
flap so he could. It had a flap,
There you
so they
go.
put the flap back up
we gotta,
so he could get
we gotta
in.
dig that up on the internet
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
it was yeah. I don't know. We've got a whole different set of screws loose in our head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In your tenure, have you ever ran into someone that you really admire, like an entertainer, athlete, celebrity, and they were like, oh my gosh,
Frankie Muniz.
he's
What?
big now. He just joined the circuit.
He
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
He's in the ARCA series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
Oh.
working his way up.
Yeah.
So he did like Skip Barber for years. He did SCCA sports car stuff, here or there, whatever. And so now he's in the ARCA series, which ARCA is like fourth in line to the top. So he's getting his feet wet in that to see if he likes it and wants to keep going. So
We gotta get him on the show. That guy's got some
Frankie,
stories
yeah,
too.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
What a world, man.
Child
For a
star.
child actor.
Malcolm in the middle.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Malcolm in the
that's-
middle.
Yeah.
What a wild ride this guy. Now
Yeah.
he's a NASCAR driver?
Yeah.
Unreal.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Did you ever run into anybody, when Kyle Busch, when you really became Kyle Busch, right? Where you were like wanted to meet them and then they met you and it was like they knew you and you were like surprised? You ever run into people like that?
Yeah, I was surprised a lot of that. I can't say who, like I don't
Right,
remember
yeah.
really who, but like guy I've always wanted to meet was Peyton Manning, right? He came from the Colts to the Broncos. I've always been a Broncos fan. So when he won for the Broncos, I think he had an invite from Dale Jr. from Nationwide. They were together on the Nationwide deal, and he came to Bristol. So I got a chance to talk to Peyton
Yeah.
Manning, and I had him sign a couple things for me. I got some Broncos.
There you
gear.
go.
go,
You gotta
there you
fan
go.
out a little bit.
I was number 18. He was number 18.
There you go.
So, and then when I went back out to Denver again a couple years later, he wasn't playing, but he was on the sidelines. We chatted it up. We talked again, So I've never met Brady. Brady would be one that would be cool to meet. I look up to a
Legends.
lot of guys, just I'm a fan of sports in general, but I really enjoy. People ask me, they're like, "Oh, who's your favorite team?" I'm like, it's hard for me to say just one.
Yeah.
Broncos fan as a kid growing up, like yes, but like I've met a lot of different players from a lot of different teams, and so I've always just kind of like pull for the player.
Sure.
Yeah.
And especially with fantasy football, you have your
100%.
fantasy football players you're
Oh,
pulling
these
for,
diehards.
So
100%.
I just kind of lean on that, but I'm just a fan of it all.
I like it.
That's awesome.
Speaking of being a fan, we have to ask. Everyone wants to know your Mount Rushmore of NASCAR. Who's on it?
Okay. I would say Dale Earnhardt. Richard Petty.
Okay.
Jimmy Johnson, and I put all 3 of them on there because they all have the 7 championships. So I don't know that championships are the same or. Yeah, I don't think the championships are the same in this day and age as they once were.
Right.
They're races are way harder to win. Championships are way harder to win now more than ever. My opinion. A few other guys also agree with that. But who would the other? You're allowed 4, right?
4.
Get one more.
4 is on
One
Rushmore.
more. I don't remember.
How many guys are throw up on there?
I need to go back and watch the movie. What's that rich kid movie? Who had the laser that could do?
Oh yeah. I remember.
Blank check?
Richie Rich, right?
Richie Rich.
I love that
Blank
movie.
check was the other one. Macintosh.
Yeah. So who's the 4th one? I don't know. I want to say Jeff Gordon because he's really high up and he's got 4 championships. So he would probably be another one.
All right, solid 4 though.
Solid 4.
Yeah, solid 4. I hope that by the time I'm done, I'll put myself in that just with the amount of NASCAR wins that I have. I need more championships. That's one thing that I would love to get more of. And if I can get, I got 61 race wins now. If I could get, the next guy I got to pass is Dale Earnhardt.
Oof.
So that would be a big one to me.
That's massive.
Is passing him. So I would like to see if I could get to 90 wins. I think that's doable.
Nice.
How you
There it
looking
is.
this weekend? What are we thinking? Big win this weekend?
I think so. I was super fast here last year. I like the Vegas track. It widens out. You can move all over the track. You can run low. You can run high. The car that I'm driving now, the 8 car, has been really fast at the 1.5 mile type racetracks last year with Tyler Reddick. And my cars were fast at those racetracks too. So I feel like me jumping into that, I'm going to pick up right where he kind of left off. And I'm working really good with the team. I love my guys, and it's been really fun, and chemistry's building. So I feel like we got a good shot.
All right, I'll be there on Sunday.
I'm favorited, so don't put your money on me at the BetMGM Sportsbook. Don't put your money on me. I will tell you, there's a pretty good bet out there. I think it's Christopher Bell. I think he's plus 1,200 to win, and he's pretty fast here, so he might not be a bad pick. But I'm not supposed to give out betting advice, so take that for what it's worth. Take that.
A lot
for
of
what it's worth.
asterisks in this sentence.
Yeah.
A lot of asterisks.
That's Pat's favorite line. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
We got to throw it in there, RJ.
Yeah,
I love that too.
Throw it in
Right,
there.
Right.
Just throw it in there.
And then
You can say anything. Allegedly, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the rule. We're good.
Yeah,
sure.
great. Allegedly, Kyle allegedly went 200 miles an hour on the streets of Vegas.
Yeah,
We'll
allegedly.
re-edit it, right?
in a Lambo.
That's awesome. But you're riding the momentum right now, though, as
That's
well.
right.
There you go.
Yeah, from winning last week. That was big. Huge win for us at RCR with the Lucas Oil Chevrolet. We've got the Alsco uniforms Chevrolet with us here this weekend. So, we change it up every week. We got a rotation of sponsors going. A lot of people want to be a part of Rowdy right now, which is great. And a lot of Rowdy Nation fans out there, too. So,
Well, I'll be there on Sunday, and I'm going
yeah,
hard.
right
So-
on.
so
You guys
let's go.
stop on by, come out on the grid and see us. We'll take a picture by the car. Maybe you can put it up on your wall.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're cutting a little bit of it out, some permanent
Right.
structure
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
This show has gone extremely well. I
Okay.
think that we really nailed it.
Yeah.
How does being interviewed by us compare to being interviewed by Oprah?
Oprah. Oh, nice. Yeah. It's been way longer.
Yeah.
Way longer. Oprah, man, I was actually shocked when I got that invite. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, Oprah. My mom always watched Oprah.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know how big a deal Oprah was.
Yeah, you just
like,
say
I
yes.
knew her.
You
I
just
knew
say
the
yes.
name, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, you have to do it.
Yep.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
are
have
you
to.
sure? Like, really?
100%.
Are we doing this? And they were like, yes.
That's a yes.
You're going.
If you say no to Oprah,
Yeah.
life's over.
So my team at the time was Hendrick Motorsports, and so Rick even sent me to like his dress guy. Like, I didn't wear a dress, but
Right.
I
Yeah,
went
tailor. Nice
tailor.
tailor. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I went to his tailor and got a whole new outfit and everything, and Rick paid for it all.
Oh, that's nice.
He was
Look
like,
good.
"You're going."
He knew you were getting exposure.
So-
He said, "You got to look to this part. You
Yeah.
gotta look to the
So
part."
you guys just got the cheapy Chevy pullover and,
Oh,
and,
we like
good.
that.
and the rowdy hat, but it's the right color.
Yeah, it's my color.
Leaning, though, you
Black.
know?
All
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
How did the Oprah fans? How did that
Oh my God.
audience,
So I come out in Oprah and I'm like, yeah, I'm big time. Yeah, I'm Kyle Busch. Like, this is it right here, right? And they're all like, yay, whatever. And I'm like, they ain't got a clue
They have
who I
no
am.
idea who I am.
No idea.
Not a clue
Thanks, Oprah.
who I am. I just won my first race in NASCAR. Not a clue. The reason why I got called on there was because I gave all of our winnings away to the Hurricane Katrina Relief Fund for the American Red Cross from the hurricane down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so that's why I got called on there, because she was like, wait, in your winning moment, this is the greatest thing you've ever done in your life, the biggest moment you have, and you gave away all your winnings? And I'm like, yeah, I gave away mine. I called my team owner over. I'm like, you're going to give your share away too? Yay. You should have seen his face. Like,
he was like, what?
He was like, yeah, we are.
This is live, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
It's all good.
That's awesome. It's a great story, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Amazing.
Right.
Guys, awesome show. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate
Kyle.
it.
This
Right
was
on.
fantastic.
Really good.
Thank you,
Really
guys.
good.
Follow Rowdy Busch. Watch the races.
That's
We're
right.
trying to win championships this year.
Yeah.
Cup Series going. Take 3-hour showers. Drink Rowdy Energy.
Yep.
That's what we want to do is be successful. We'll see you next week.
Sunday,
Appreciate it.
12:30 on Fox.
Yes,
There
sir.
it is.
Thanks, guys.